All right, grab your gear because today we're cracking open our field journals and diving straight into an absolutely epic explainer. We're looking at a sweeping visual record that captures the raw, literally untamed spirit of the North American continent. Think of me as your expedition leader for this run. We aren't just going to sit here looking at dry facts today, no way. We're trekking right through the brush to really unpack the staggering scale of this natural narrative and the majestic creatures living out there. Let's get moving. You know, the subtitle of this piece, A North American Odyssey, it isn't just some catchy marketing phrase. It's really our expedition manifesto. I mean, an odyssey implies something monumental, right? A huge voyage full of shifting fortunes and some pretty extreme challenges. By framing it this way, the creators are practically making a promise to us. We're about to witness survival, struggle, and just breathtaking beauty on a truly continental scale.
Okay, part one, embarking on the Odyssey. Let's set up base camp and define the scope of what we're looking at.
So, an odyssey. It's defined as a grand, epic journey through North America's most rugged and wild landscapes. But the crucial takeaway here is that we aren't just passively observing animals in a vacuum. Nope. As viewers and as fellow learners, we're actively navigating this magnificent, overarching journey. We're tracking how these environments connect, feeling those miles traveled by migrating herds, and really sensing the sheer vastness of wild spaces that are still, thankfully, untouched by human hands. Moving on to Section 2, Mapping the Wild Terrain. Let's open up our maps and chart these continental biomes. Now, what's fascinating is that our journey isn't measured in miles or GPS coordinates. Actually, scratch that. It's measured in something much more powerful, the relentless turning cycle of the wild seasons. We kick off with a spring thaw, which is just this absolute explosion of life and frantic reproduction. Then boom, we hit the summer solstice, where brutal heat tests the endurance of every single creature. That shifts seamlessly right into the autumn migration. It's a massive biological imperative, driving millions of animals, like those huge herds of caribou, straight across the continent. And finally, we're hit with the winter freeze, the ultimate unforgiving test. So the true map here is dictated entirely by time and temperature. All right, Section 3, Majestic Wildlife Encounters. Let's get into our primary field observations. Keep your voices low for this one. Just look at the sheer contrast in this scope. We're stretching across completely opposite battlegrounds of survival. On one hand, we've got the arid, sun-scorched Sonoran Desert, a landscape completely defined by scarcity. Out there, literally every single drop of water is a hard-fought resource for tough-as-nails creatures like the Gila monster. But then, on the exact opposite end of the spectrum, you have the frozen, unforgiving Alaskan tundra. It's a world locked in ice, where warmth is the ultimate currency if you're an animal like the heavy-coated Arctic muskox. Pitting these two extremes against each other, it instantly shows us the staggering diversity of the continent. And wow, these field notes really highlight those stark differences perfectly. In the desert, it's all about heat dispersion. Think about the massive ears on a desert fox. They basically act like natural radiators, pulling heat right out of its body. Pretty clever, right? Conversely, up in the tundra, it is a constant, desperate battle for heat retention. We're talking thick insulation and super dense blubber for those Arctic mammals. This is essentially nature's ultimate ledger of problem solving. It shows exactly how wildlife evolves these incredibly unique physiological traits just to conquer such insane extremes. Which brings us to Section 4, Surviving the Elements. Let's break down this day-to-day survival. So this is where things get really intense. You are right in the middle of the action, witnessing the pure, calculated instinct it takes to stay alive out here. Let's track a predator on the hunt. Step 1, environmental observation. They're scanning the terrain, calculating wind direction, checking for cover. It's highly analytical. Step 2 is tactical adaptation. They adjust their posture, tweak their speed, maybe even camouflage themselves perfectly against the brush. And then, Step 3, executing the hunt or the evasion, if you're the prey. It all culminates in this massive burst of kinetic energy. Seeing these 3 steps play out in real time, it's a stark reminder that survival isn't just dumb luck. It's a highly evolved, split-second sequence of decisions. All right, time to pack up camp. Section 5, the explorer's final log. Let's go over our ultimate takeaways. These findings really represent the absolute essence of our expedition today. We've witnessed the unbelievable scale of these biomes and the undeniable resilience of the wildlife that actually manages to survive those brutal extremes. We also recognized how the seasons are basically dictators, cyclical forces that relentlessly push and pull life across the map. And, perhaps most importantly, we learned why documenting this wild majesty is so crucial. By capturing these moments, we're preserving a record of an untamed world that is constantly shifting. It absolutely stands as a true testament to the power of the natural world we've explored today. So, I'll leave you, fellow travelers, with this final lingering thought to write in your own logs. How does witnessing all this wild majesty change your own relationship with the untamed world? When you really start to grasp the scale, the daily struggle, and just the super delicate biological balance of these ecosystems, well, it's kind of impossible to look at your own backyard the exact same way. I challenge you to consider how this odyssey shifts your perspective. Does it make you want to protect it more? Does it make you want to go out and observe it for yourself? Keep that question with you. Thanks so much for joining me on this incredible journey. Keep exploring, stay curious, and I'll see you on the next explainer.